All right, so today I wanted to talk a little bit more about crypto. And again, there was an interesting story that came out recently, and it's from CNBC titled Crash of the Crypto Token Titan that Burned Mark Cuban May Not Foretell a Bitcoin Plunge. Now, last week, a cryptocurrency token called Titan dropped from a price of more than $60 to less than a cent in a space of a few hours. So, this is the problem with these kind of things, and this is the problem with altcoins in general. Not all of them, but about 99.9% of them. That this I don't even know how to put this right, and then it's just very frustrating because it's good in some ways. It's good in that we have a lot of new people, again, me to some degree included in the space. But the problem is that we have a lot of new people that have gotten into it for not good reasons, I would say. And I mean, we have the obvious one. We have the people that are just get rich quick people, and we have the people that are pushing pump and dumps. Like these are kind of the two really, really big problems right now, that we have these celebrities and or quote unquote social media influencers that are pushing these shit coins that have, 10 million, $100 million, like very small market caps. They pump these coins. Inevitably, they go up because, again, it has like a $10 million market cap. Of course, it's going to go up if they tell their million followers how much they like it, right? Of course, it's going to go up. People pump it. They get out. They make their quick, 100, 200, 500, 1,000% return, whatever it is. And again, a lot of people make money, but a lot of people lose a lot of money. And again, this is another example, right? And again, for the new people in the space, if you're not 100% sure of what you're doing, just by, again, my personal opinion, like I say, obviously do your own research. Again, that's very important. Don't take anyone's advice, for granted or whatever. But again, my personal opinion, if you're unsure, just buy and hold Bitcoin should be the majority, at least, I would say at least 50%. If you want to get into Ethereum, Cardano, some of the big privacy coins, aside from that, there's maybe 10, maybe 20 coins tops that I think you could actually legitimately that put money in, if you ask me. And of those, again, on the majority of them, again, I still wouldn't unless you really want to speculate. But this is the problem in this space, like I said, is that you have these people who aren't in it for good reasons. And this is the thing, people, I don't want to put my, and it screws it over for the other people too that are in it for the right reasons. Because again, these are the kind of stories people hear, right? Man puts his money in Bitcoin and returns 100% a year, 50% a year, whatever it is. Yeah, that's a good story, but that happens all the time. That's happened to tons of people. But again, person puts, you know, $10,000, $100,000 into Titan coin, right, when it's $60 and then loses pretty well everything. That's a lot bigger of a story, right? That's going to draw a lot more headlines. So this is the problem with this stuff, and people really need to stop falling for it. Right now, again, I'm not saying, again, if you want to, speculate with a small, 1%, 5%, maybe 10% of your available money, that's not the end of the world. But like I say, make sure you do your own research for this stuff too, because there's a lot of scams out there. There's a lot of shit coins out there. Um, Not that not that I don't want to scare people away too much either, right? Because again, you at the end, in the long run, you can't go wrong, in my opinion, with just buying and holding Bitcoin. Buy and hold Ethereum. Buy and hold Cardano. Buy and hold the privacy coins, right? In my mind, you can't go wrong. The problem is that people are, a lot of people are drawn in by this whole get rich quick thing, right? And that the whole, GameStop, AMC, Doge, all this kind. And this is the other thing too I can't stand about Doge, now that I bring it up too, is that people group Doge in with the AMC and the GameStop thing, when in reality they're nothing similar. Now, there may be some, these big hedge funds, some of these rich people that are shorting Doge. Absolutely. But they're not nearly the same. Doge is completely a joke, right? Doge is a complete joke. So this is another thing too that I've heard from multiple people that have asked me or people I know about getting into this space, and more people, the first thing people tend to bring up is Doge, even before Bitcoin, anything else, which is insane. And this is the problem too, that they don't know what they're talking about really. And not to mention too, we have Elon Musk, who either he's flat out lying to people or he doesn't know what he's talking about. Honestly, I'm not sure, because it seems different tweets seem to imply different things, but he has talked about Doge being legitimate. When again, Doge hasn't had any major work done on it in like 3 years, maybe 4 years. I think it's like 2017, 2018. So Doge is not something of the only way Doge survives is if Elon and a lot of these people like Elon continuously pump it. But if that's what's keeping the coin alive, again, what happens what happens if Elon gets in a car accident or has a heart attack and dies, right? So this is the problem, that Bitcoin's clearly affected by these kind of people, but it's becoming less and less affected. Like Elon just tweeted out about Bitcoin, what was it, 2 or 3 days ago, clearly kind of joking about it, and it had almost no effect. Right? I think it went down maybe like $1,000 or $2,000, if that. So again, that people are slowly starting to figure out to stop listening to Elon when it comes to this stuff. And this is another thing that, again, you shouldn't be listening to any one person, right? That, like I said, do your own research, right? But again, at the end of the day, people just keep falling for this stuff. And again, like you do hear the stories of people, oh yeah, I put, $10,000 into GameStop and turned it into $250,000. Like same goes for a lot of these altcoins. Happens again. You hear those stories, but again, you tend to not hear that. Again, like if if someone is making that much money, someone is also losing that much money, right? So this is the problem that people don't seem to understand, right? And that, again, if someone's making that much money, someone's also, well, like, it's probably a group of people, right? Because it's obviously not one person, but again, this is the problem, right? So again, my personal opinion, just buy and hold, right? Stop trying. I mean, if you want to try and time the market, fine, but again, most people aren't going to be able to do that. Even most people that are very experienced still aren't going to be able to do that. If you do want to time the market, what you could do is simply say, okay, I'm just going to wait until it has a 5% dip, 10% dip, and then I'm going to pour money into it. Like if you really want to do that, the problem is don't if you're going to try and time the market, have a set way of doing things. Don't be like, I'm just going to, trust my gut, right? That's not a good way of doing things, because if you do that, you're going to lose in the long run, most likely. If you're going to do it, simply say, okay, every time Bitcoin, has a 5% drawdown, 10% drawdown, I'm going to put X amount of dollars in. Have the money in the exchange rate ready to go, because a lot of these times, if Bitcoin is a big drawdown or a big draw up, people are rushing to get money in and or out, and a lot of times you can't do it. So have money ready to go. Keep an eye on the price. Well, don't check the price all the time. Maybe you have price alerts. Maybe you have I think you might even be able to have like automatic orders. I'm completely drawing the blank on what the market, not market order, and I'm completely blanking on what it's called, but you know what I mean, that if the price hits a certain amount, you automatically buy. That's what you should be doing. But again, the main point is, stop falling for these kind of things, right? Stop falling for it. And again, if people really want to give an FU to the system, you don't need to be doing these stupid, meaningless altcoins. And again, a lot of people say, oh, well, this altcoin, it's faster than Bitcoin, right? Well, it doesn't mean it's any better necessarily. Because again, if you can't convince a comparable amount of people to adopt it, it's never going to go anywhere, right? And this is the other problem with a lot of these people is that, I mean, there's kind of three routes. So a lot of these are just complete shit coins, like Doge is an example. But there's some that the transaction times or and transaction fees are actually very, very good. The problem is, again, they have like $50 million market caps. The chances of them ever getting even close to Bitcoin, let alone like Ethereum, is very low. So this is the problem. And again, just because it's better doesn't mean anything, right? It doesn't mean anything. So when you're looking into an altcoin, you need to think to yourself, is it realistic that this coin is going to pick up a very high, um, realistic that it can scale a lot? And that's the other problem people don't really think to themselves, right? Because again, it wouldn't be overly hard to come up with a something that's better than Facebook, but you're never going to convince billions of people to get it, right? Like, unless you have, Elon Musk, Jeff Bezos, these kind of guys backing you. Even then, it might still be hard. So this is the obvious problem that, again, a lot of these coins are just straight up shit coins. Those ones you should be avoiding like the plague. And I mean, one way of knowing right off the bat if a coin is a shit coin is if there's very little work that's been done to it, right? That's a very easy way to know. Doge is a prime example of it. Because again, you want these coins to constantly be upgraded, right? You don't want, like I said, Doge, very little, if any, work has been done on it since the last 2 or 3, 4 years. That's one way. Again, another way, is it even better? Is it even better? Again, Doge, yeah, the transaction times and fees may not be that bad for Doge. They're actually decent from what I hear. The problem is that 10,000 new Doge are created every 10 minutes, infinitum, right? It's, from now until the end of time. So that's the other problem too, is it actually, can you use it for one of two things, right? And that, I think, the most important thing when it comes to cryptos is a store of value, right? This is the other thing I think people overrate, is that they think that for a coin to be really good, you need it to be used for day-to-day transactions, which I think is good. But the problem is that if your coin can be used for day-to-day transactions, but it's still being inflated to a massive degree, you haven't really, you basically have a digital dollar, right? You basically have a CBDC, right? It's really, I mean, maybe the government isn't controlling it, but it's essentially the same thing. So that's why Doge isn't any good. Ethereum, it has a lot of issues in that it has a centralized authority which could easily be gone after by the government. I believe they're reliant on Amazon Web Services. If I don't even think the supply is capped, but the thing with Ethereum is that they're already very, very well established, right? And that this is the reason why Bitcoin isn't going away. This is the reason why Ethereum isn't going away, because they're already so established that even though they're not perfect by any means, they're not going away, right? They're just not going away. Whether people like it or not, they're not going away. So anyway, that's what I wanted to bring up. But like I say, let's just stop falling for this stuff, right? So anyway, like I say, check out those links. Stay tuned for more. Again, if you want to donate, you can do that. Again, like I say, just check out those links, hit that like and subscribe, and stay tuned for more.